Welcome back to my shop. Alright, I performed the capacitor, the paper capacitor and electrolytic capacitor replacement on all of them. I don't bother checking, it's just they're cheap and it's safe. You're going to have to replace them eventually anyway, so I did that. You can see all the yellow ones. I also, here you can see two electrolytic capacitors. And actually I shouldn't have this plugged in when I'm trying to do that, even though I have everything off. Greetings. Welcome back to my workbench. This is part 2 of the Philco 48250 1948. In the last video I explained how I was using different schematics. Just to show you, I have the Philco service schematic, which is perfectly fine, but it's for earlier ones, and it did not include the latest chassis, I guess. Where this one, which is the Sam Photofact, I like these a lot because there's a picture of it. It has pictures of the chassis top and the chassis bottom over here. Nice dial cord if you have to redo that. All the parts list, and then a really nice schematic. So this is an original one, but you can get copies fairly cheap. Other items like the Photofact here, you can get online. There's some places that kind of allows you to print them out. I think there's a Philco website that does that. This is an original though. So one thing that's really interesting about this is with the technology, this is the 2020 150 volt electrolytic capacitor. Tucked in here are those two of those. It's just a difference, so much more room inside. I can now throw these out. I used to collect them for some reason, and I had two, I guess, shoe boxes full of them, thinking that maybe one day I'd want to melt out the wax and keep the outside and refill them, like stuff them with newer components, but I'm just not that crazy, I guess. So in the garbage they go. What I have not done yet, I have not checked the tubes, I have not checked the resistors. I haven't done any of that work yet. All I did was simply do a recap. I also replaced the cord, the electric cord, with one that's polarized. And if you ever wonder how to do it, to kind of set it up properly, you always want the smooth one to go to the hot, and that goes to the switch. So on the side here you can see, actually let me show you here. One of these has a ridged end and the other one doesn't. So the smooth end goes to the switch, the ridged end goes to the tube. In this case is tube number 2 of the, what is it? I don't even remember what this one is. It's not a standard AA5 because it uses different tubes configurations. It's the, oh no, it's 35 Z5 GT, it is, okay. So that's fine. So let's plug it in and see what it does. Note, I have not done any cleaning on top of this. I guess what I should do is hook up the antenna, so if we do get some sort of, see if we can pick something up. Otherwise I can always set up my electrolytic, my AM transmitter. Okay, plug it in. Oh, I forgot to mention, I was saying how stuck this was. I put a little 3-in-1 oil down here and sat it upright on its back, sitting overnight, and it's amazing what a difference it made. I did the same thing here. This wasn't a problem, but now this is so smooth. It's like butter. I'll probably do some more just to let it soak in again. Anyway, So it's off right now. I'm going to put on, I don't know if you can see back here, I'm putting on my isolation transformer. That's on. Now I'm going to put my voltage variac. I'm going to keep it to about 40-45 to start. And it's at about 41. You can see it's blinking. This little piece here on top, you see my fingers, is an add-on, and I put it into the circuit, but the problem is it doesn't start generating power here until it's a little over 40 volts. Alright, so I have it at 44, it's lit up. Now I'm going to turn on the radio. I don't know if you can see the tube here. Light off here. The tube's starting to come up. Everything looks good over here with the current. I'm going to move it up to 60. I'm going to put everything back on so you can actually see what I'm doing. And I have a little light here too that helps see things. Okay, we're at 70. I don't hear anything yet. I think usually I have to get to 90 before I hear something. Let's go to 90. We're at 94. I guess you can hear the static here. That's good. Still looks good. Current is very low. And the powers, let me go up to 120. Go at 119, that's good. My power looks good, my voltage looks good. Amperage looks good. Alright, let me do this, because I'm not going to pick up any stations this time of day. Let me hook up my AM transmitter. On the other side of this transmitter, this side's connected to, I have a little Alexa dot on my workbench, and this antenna, I'll put it right next to here. Alexa, what's today's news?
Breaking news from NPR on weekdays at a time you choose. Would you like that?
Yes.
Great. What time would you like the routine to execute at?
Alexa, stop.
Okay. I will not create the routine.
News in Washington on NORWAM. The Israeli military and the Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group traded heavy fire overnight. Israeli airstrikes hit hundreds of targets in southern Lebanon, and Hezbollah fired missiles deeper into Israel.
Alexa, stop. So it's working. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna check all the resistors. I don't think I have to film that because everyone knows how to check resistors, I think, if you're watching this. I'm also going to do a little tube checking just to make sure the tubes are good. Let me shut this off for now. Unplug it, always unplug it. And you know what I actually want to do? Let me disconnect this again. Let me put these back on, just in case I get clumsy still. What I want to do is show you, I have a little older, this is a tube tester, but all it does is it tests the filament, which of course you can do the same thing with a multimeter, but I just saw this really cheap on eBay, and we all love gadgets. Okay, Alright, so if hopefully this is coming up and it looks like you can see that's lit up. When I plug in the tube, it should stay lit. If it goes, no, I'm sorry, it should go out. If test light goes out, filament is good. If test light stays on, filament is bad. So, a little too hot. Let me get one of the low ones. The one thing about Philco, they have this special Loctile tubes, which I'm not crazy about. A little harder to get out, but I guess it's good. It means they don't go in. Okay. So let me, goes in a Loctile. Gotta line up the pins. This is saying this is not good, but it was just working. Obviously, we tested the filament. I just don't think it's sitting in there properly. Okay, yeah, you could see now the light goes out. And once I take it back on, it goes on. Hopefully you saw that. I'll do it one more time. You're going to have to kind of really press it in. There we go. I'm not going to do all of them. I just kind of want to show you that. That's cute. But I'll test these with a regular tube tester. I'll actually also clean it off. What I used to do is disconnect everything that I could from the top and scrub down this, but it's, I don't know, it's getting lazy, I guess. I actually used to put this, the tuner, the two-piece tuner, I used to put it in a bath that's like a jewelry cleaner, and they used to come up super shiny. And then you have to dry them really well. But what I found out is that it kind of, if you use water that's too hot, if these have little mica wafers in them, it could damage those. So now what I do is I just really give it a good spray with electrical contact cleaner. Good. So when I come back, what we should have is a fully cleaned, tube tested radio, resistor tested radio. And if that looks good, then I will show how to do an alignment to make sure we get the best quality sound out of it. So I will be back soon. Thank you for watching. Hi, welcome back. So I checked the tubes, cleaned up the tubes. They look nice and shiny now. Cleaned off the cabinet a bit. Put some 3-in-1 oil on the variable capacitor where the gears are and the ball bearing, so it goes nice and smooth. Added some more oil down on the volume control, and it seems to be moving smoothly now. So this part of the video, the plans are to show you how to do an alignment. Not my favorite part. This is a ICO 324 signal generator. I think it's from the 1950s, I believe. My plans are actually to build a separate powered antenna, which means I never have to use this again, because I'm not crazy about putting wires underneath here and trying to work on the radio. Not the safest thing to do. It depends on the instructions on what the alignment is, and if we look here, the front page gives the instructions. So one thing they say is if you have a dummy antenna to use it, a dummy antenna is really nothing more than a capacitor resistor built into it. I made my own signal generator, dummy antenna, and receiver. And inside here is just a little boards. Not a board, I don't even have boards, it's just hard connected and it works fine. So first thing to do is have the tuning capacitor all the way closed. Set the signal generator for 455. Put the positive from the signal generator into the receiver, goes to pin 6 of the 7A8. And the 7A8 is the converter tube. And then you go to the ground, the B minus I should say, which eventually goes to ground, but I have that here. I've had this going for a while. I just have the volume off. Because I have the radio on the side like this, I'm a little nervous, so I'm going to have to, I like to work with one hand for safety. So if I have to touch the chassis, I'm going to use a rubber glove just to protect myself. So voltage should be at about what does it say here? 117. I'm at 116. I'll move it up a tiny bit. There we go, 117. 118. Good enough. Alright, it says to put the volume all the way up. And I don't think you can hear it, but I can hear a little bit of the 455 signal from the signal generator. So I'm going to start to tune it. You're supposed to go to the tuning capacitor, the output first, and then the input. And you're looking to hear some higher volume. And you can hear that now, I hope. And you want to do it to hear the maximum noise or volume. They say you can hook up a multimeter to the speaker to see the volume move up and down, but you need an analog one, which I don't have. So I just go by sound. I mean, this is a, how many year old radio. I'm not that worried about it. And generally I use AM transmitters anyway. So close enough is good enough in this case. So that was the first A1. Now we go to A2 then. I'm going to lower this a little because it's getting loud. A3 in the output. And A4. Okay, and I realize of course you're not seeing what I'm doing because it's on this side, but I want to turn it around. Let's see if I can without disconnecting anything. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and because I have to use my other hand, I have to switch gloves. And then repeat the same process once more. I think we have it peaked pretty well. Okay. That takes care of that first step. I'm going to turn the radio off and adjust it for the second step. And thankfully these remaining steps can go on top. Unplug the radio too. And the rest of these steps are done from the top, thankfully. Okay, next step is to take a loop antenna. So fashion a loop. Several turns of wire. And you're going to hook it up and just kind of sit it inside the loop antenna. So there's my loop there. Sit it inside the box. We have to set the dial for 1600, which is almost at the top. And actually, let me turn this here. I'm going to risk it and take this off for now. If you see here on this particular dial, this dial is way off. So 1600, there's a little line here, and I'm definitely at the top, but this arrow should be on some of these lines you see right here. So I do have to adjust the dial cord. That looks like I did it. And I'll have to tighten that to make sure it stays that way. Good. So now let's have the loop antenna in. Let's plug it in. Turn it on. And the signal generator should be at 1600, so I have to go to the next band and move up to 1600. 14. I'm not getting anything out of here. Volume's all the way up. Disconnect it. Interesting. Not sure why it's not working. Alright, this isn't working the way I wanted it to work. So I'm going to go to plan B. And plan B is just tune it with a faint station and try and get the best signal you can pick up. So with that, I turn off this. Let me turn off the radio for now. I want to disconnect everything here. Get rid of my loop antenna. And now you can see why I want to use a power antenna where I don't have to hook everything up. It's a project I'm hoping to get done before the end of the year. I saw some nice plans online for it. Okay. I don't know why I disconnected these, but let me put those back in. Hopefully you're still with me. I know this is boring to some people, but gotta try different things. When things don't go your way. Good. Turn it back on. Let me hook up directly because I don't think I'm making good connections here. Okay, why is I'm not really getting any kind of signal anymore? Curious and curious. Okay, it's time to use a local one. Realize I'm blocking the whole camera, sorry about that. Alexa, play today's weather.
Did you know I can help you get your day started with the weather, news, traffic, and more? Would you like me to enable the start my day routine?
Alexa, play today's news.
Live from NPR News in Washington on Iran. The Israeli military and the Iran-backed Hezbollah militant group traded heavy fire. Lebanon and Hezbollah fired missiles deeper into Israel. NPR's Ruth Sher broadcast the latest. This is the most significant escalation.
That was a weird sound. I've never heard that before.
Israeli military. Rocket launchers in northern Israel, sirens wailed through the night, warning of incoming rockets.
I am going to have to shut this down
Deeper into Israel.
and figure out why,
Just north of the major
what happened to make this stop working. I'll be back. Alrighty, welcome back to hopefully the final part of part 2, the restoration of electronics itself. When we last left off, I was having some weird, I'm going to call it an underwater sound. I could not figure out what it was. What I did then is I disconnected the antenna and I hooked up my AM transmitter directly to the variable capacitor and tuned it to the station. It was perfect. So to me, that pointed out there was something wrong with the antenna built into the loop antenna built into the cabinet. I then just took my voltmeter and measured the resistance on the antenna. I wasn't getting anything. Once in a while, something would pop up, and then it would quickly go away. So to me, it seemed obvious that there's a break somewhere in that antenna line. I happen to have 3 other of this model radio, 3 in white, and the one we were doing was brown. So I looked at the one that had the best AM transmitter, the best antenna. I checked it with the voltmeter, and it had 3 point something on the antenna, which I think is the right amount. See, it says. It does not have it on the schematic. But, long story short, once I hooked it back up here, I have this sort of temporarily set up because I'm not putting it back in the cabinet yet. But it worked. So let me show you what it sounds like now. Plug this in. Turn on my isolation transformer. Turn on my variac. Turn on my radio. A lot of interference here. Let me get my... Here we go. Alexa, play the local news.
Hey Vincent, here's your news. In Fox 61.
New tonight, members of the Scotticoke Tribal Nation are asking the Bureau of Indian Affairs...
So you can see it sounds really good, coming in nice and clear with the AM transmitter near the cabinet. So what's next? Alexa, stop. Turn it off. Well, what's next is I'm going to take out, disconnect here. Since I'll be using this cabinet, I'll be cleaning it. I'm actually kind of happy this happened because I want to paint this a beautiful blue and white. I've done this before, and I'll show you a picture inserted into video here of what that looked like. And it has nice white and red and gold dial face, where the other one's a little darker, and this one will actually go much nicer with it. The cabinet's in decent shape. Normally I'd just be able to clean it up and paint over it. There are a couple of chips in here, and I may decide to strip it first. Otherwise it may not come out that nice, but I'll make that decision as I go along. So, but that will be the next video. Also, what I'm going to be doing is the radio back that came with this one is kind of beat up. If I'm up for it, I'm going to show you how I actually create these myself. You can buy these online. There's a company that sells them. They're about $25 to $30, I guess, depending on the back. But I can use my wife's Cricut machine. What I generally do is I scan this as a picture and I clean it up where the little edges are missing. I've done this 3 or 4 times on my own with a number of different radios, and it came out pretty good. So that's what I will be trying next. And hopefully you'll stay tuned to the series and see the finished product next time. It may take a little while to publish since I'm going to be painting this two-tone. I like to give it some time between to allow it to dry properly and cure. In the meantime, I'm trying to publish little 20 or 30-second shorts of radios I've already done, once or twice a week, so you can watch those as well. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.